David and Laura Preston had what most would call a picture-perfect marriage. 6 years strong. 2 beautiful children, Mia, age 5, and Caleb, just turned 3. A spacious suburban home in a quiet cul-de-sac. David was a respected criminal defense attorney, Laura, a pediatric nurse adored by her patients' families. They were the power couple everyone admired at weekend barbecues and holiday parties. But behind closed doors, perfection was beginning to peel. It started with the phone. Laura had never hidden things from David before, not her messages, not her schedule. But now, she kept her phone on her at all times. Always locked. Always turned screen down on the counter. David had noticed, but said nothing at first. He chalked it up to exhaustion, long shifts, maybe stress from her rotating night duties. But then came the late-night walks. The quiet texting. The way she'd stare out the window and not notice when he entered the room. "Everything okay?" he asked one night as she returned from a walk, cheeks flushed. She smiled and kissed his cheek. "You're imagining things, love. Just tired." But it kept happening. One rainy Thursday, David returned home later than usual after an emotionally draining trial. The house was still, the kind of silence that unsettles rather than comforts. The kids were asleep. Laura wasn't in their room. He called out softly, "Laura?" No response. As he walked into the kitchen, something caught his eye, her phone, sitting on the table. Unlocked. He shouldn't have, but something told him he had to. His fingers moved fast, guilt twisting in his chest as he opened her messages. Most were deleted, but one thread was still open. "Unknown number, everything's ready. He'll never see it coming. Laura, it's been hard pretending. But once it's done, I'm free." David's breath hitched. "Unknown number, do it Friday." That's when the cameras reset. Laura, perfect. He'll be too tired to notice. He dropped the phone like it had burned him. His pulse pounded in his ears. An affair? A robbery? A setup? He didn't sleep that night. By morning, he had a plan. David used a client contact, an old tech expert from a federal case, to acquire a discreet, high-resolution surveillance camera. He installed it in his home office, hidden behind a faux smoke detector. Then he fabricated a business trip for Friday, complete with booked flights and a fake itinerary. But instead of leaving town, David checked into a hotel just a few miles away, laptop open, live feed streaming. Friday evening, 7:14 p.m. David sat in the hotel room, staring at the screen. Laura entered the office. She looked nervous, darting her eyes to every corner. She opened a drawer and pulled out a folder, his folder. Case files. Documents from high-profile, classified clients. She stuffed them into a leather bag. Then someone else stepped into frame. David's heart stopped. It was Jonas, his best friend. His best man at their wedding. Godfather to their children. Jonas walked up behind Laura and kissed her neck. "This is the last of it," she whispered. "His files, client records, all encrypted. You sure your guy can sell it?" "Once this is done," Jonas said, sliding his arm around her waist, "we vanish. Belize, remember?" They laughed. Plotted. David sat frozen. Mouth dry. Staring at betrayal made flesh. By Sunday, he had already hired a private investigator. Every movement, every message, every secret meeting was now being tracked. The PI confirmed it all. Laura had been planning this for months. It wasn't just an affair. She was preparing to leak privileged legal files, some of them tied to government interests, and pin it all on David. Monday morning, David drove to a brick bungalow on the edge of town. Laura's mother answered the door. "David?" she said, surprised. "Is everything all right?" He didn't answer, just handed her a tablet. "Watch this." She sat on the sofa, mouth slowly falling open as the footage played. "That's not my Laura," she said faintly, tears building. That's someone else." "What do you mean?" David asked. Her lips trembled. "She's not my biological daughter. We adopted her when she was 14. Her mother, her birth mother, died under strange circumstances. They said it was a fall, but Laura was there when it happened." David went pale. He left that evening with more answers and more questions. But there was no more doubt. He went to the police. Quietly. He presented the footage, chat logs, timestamps. The detective he met with, a grizzled man named Ray Hollis, listened without interruption, then simply said, "We'll need to catch them in the act." David gave them everything: access to his office, copies of the footage, permission to wire the room. They coordinated a sting for the following Friday. It played out like a thriller. Laura and Jonas entered the office at 7:11 p.m. They laughed softly. Jonas pulled a USB drive from his jacket and plugged it into David's laptop. Laura had the suitcase. Then the office door burst open. "Police! Hands where I can see them!" Laura didn't flinch. She placed her hands behind her head. Jonas turned red, stuttering. But Laura just looked up at the camera and smirked. 3 months later, David stood in court. But not as a lawyer, as a witness. Laura sat in the defendant's chair in an orange jumpsuit, hands clasped in her lap. Composed. Jonas, now cooperating with the prosecution, looked like a broken man. David testified. So did the tech experts. The private investigator, Ray Hollis. The evidence was overwhelming. At the end, the judge read the sentence: 20 years for Laura Preston for conspiracy, cyber theft, and attempted espionage. David drove home in silence. He entered the house. The kids were asleep. The night was still. On the bed, a note. "You were never supposed to find out. But I loved you, in my own way. Tell the kids I'm sorry. Laura." He sat for a long time, letter in hand. Then he went out back, lit the fire pit, and dropped the paper in. The flame devoured it quickly. The past was ashes now. And finally, he was free.
Please like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest videos.